As an engineer here at AWS, I spend a lot of my time talking with customers about building really powerful AI agents. But to understand how to build them safely, well, for that, we don't need to look at the latest sci-fi blockbuster. Turns out, the most important lesson comes from a classic poem written all the way back in 1797. So let's dive in.
Right, this is from Goethe's The Sorcerer's Apprentice. You probably know the story. A young, kind of cocky apprentice is tired of hauling water, so he enchants a broomstick to do the job for him. And honestly, it's the perfect metaphor for what we're all trying to do with AI agents today, just automate a tedious task. But, as we're about to see, it's also a heck of a cautionary tale about the absolute need for control.
Whenever I talk to teams about agent safety, the conversation almost always drifts toward things like adversarial attacks, prompt injections, malicious AI. And look, those are definitely valid concerns. But the most common day-to-day problem we actually see out in the field, it's much simpler and probably a lot more familiar.
So here's the thing. We're not dealing with a James Bond villain problem here. It's a Fantasia problem. The agent isn't trying to sabotage you. It's just an unbelievably persistent problem solver, doing exactly what you told it to do, but with absolutely zero common sense about when it should stop. And that all stems from its core nature.
We build agents for this persistence. It's their superpower, right? The whole point is that they can adapt, figure out how to handle weird edge cases, and just keep plugging away until the goal is met. For the apprentice, this is that magic moment. He's done it. He's automated his chore, and the broom has just sprung to life.
And this quote just brilliantly captures that initial success, that feeling of, wow, it's working. It's fast, it's efficient, it's doing the job perfectly, you're getting the exact results you wanted, and everything seems to be going exactly to plan. But this very capability, it raises a really important question.
If this persistence can be such a double-edged sword, why even use a complicated agent in the first place? Why not just stick with a simpler, more predictable, fixed workflow? It's a completely fair question, and the answer really gets to the heart of why we're all so excited about this technology.
It all comes down to a really crucial trade-off. If you have a problem that's perfectly defined, where you know every single step, a fixed workflow is almost always the better choice. It's going to be faster, cheaper, and way simpler. We really only bring in an agent when the path to the solution isn't clear, and we need that persistence to navigate all the unknowns.
And here we go. This is the flip side of that incredible power. An agent's greatest strength, that relentless persistence. Well, it becomes its biggest liability if you don't give it clear boundaries. It's just like the apprentice's broom, which just keeps fetching water long after the basin is totally full. An AA agent doesn't have the intuition to know when the job is actually done.
And believe me, these are not hypotheticals. Just imagine an agent you tasked with summarizing one project folder that, in its persistence, decides, hey, why not summarize every folder I can possibly access? Suddenly you're racking up huge costs and you've got a security nightmare on your hands. Or a provisioning agent that just burns through your entire budget spinning up infinite test servers. It's not being malicious, it's just overfilling the basin.
This quote, it just perfectly captures that feeling of pure panic. That moment when you realize your powerful tool has created a massive crisis. The solution isn't working for you anymore. Now you're desperately trying to work against your own creation. So how do we prevent the flood in the first place?
This brings us to the first, and I'd say the most fundamental, principle of agent safety: containment. Before you ever give an agent a task, you absolutely have to define the space it's allowed to operate in. You have to, quite literally, build it a box.
Here at AWS, this is exactly what tools like AgentCore policy are designed for. Now, containment isn't a suggestion for the agent, it is a hard, non-negotiable boundary. It defines what tools it can touch, what data it can access, and exactly how many resources it's allowed to consume. It's the physical room that the broom is working in.
And this is just such a vital safety layer, even for a perfectly built, non-adversarial agent. Because, as we've seen, the problem isn't bad intentions, it's unbounded persistence. The box gives you a hard stop. It prevents the agent from ever leaving the room and flooding the whole castle.
Okay, but a box isn't enough on its own. It prevents a catastrophe, sure, but it doesn't really give you any nuance. Inside that box, we still need to guide the agent's behavior. The apprentice's real failure wasn't just that he let the broom run wild. It was that he didn't know the master's magic words to make it stop.
This is exactly where a complementary tool like Strands steering comes into play. If AgentCore policy builds the box, Strands steering provides the specific instructions for what to do inside it. It lets us give that structured guidance, things like stop when this specific condition is met,
or do not perform this action on that particular file. It's how we teach the agent the master's words.
So you can see how these two layers just build on each other, and as our agents get more and more capable and start taking on these really complex, long-running tasks, these kinds of controls become even more critical. Having both the hard boundary of the box and the nuanced instructions from steering, that's what creates true enterprise-grade reliability.
So what does this actually look like in practice? For anyone out there building and deploying agents, we can basically distill all of this down into a really clear, actionable framework, inspired by our story. Okay, first, define the basin. What is the precise goal, and how will you know for sure that it's complete? Second, build the box. Use your containment policies to set hard limits on resources and permissions. Third, teach the master's words. Use steering to add those fine-grained behavioral rules. And finally, number 4, watch the water level. You have to have robust monitoring so you can see what the agent is actually doing in real time.
The story of the Sorcerer's Apprentice ends when the master finally comes back to clean up the catastrophic mess. The crucial takeaway for all of us building this tech is that we have to be the master from the very beginning. Our agents are only getting more and more powerful. The real question is, are we ready to direct that power wisely?